Hey, welcome. Here we are. Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. The daily newspaper read. Starring yours truly. Did you get your paper? Okay, I'll wait. Just kidding. It's my show. If you didn't get your paper, you just read vicariously through me. Hopefully, if you do have your paper, you've waited, like a good reader, to take it out of the plastic. Which we can do right now, actually. No time like the present. Let's just jump into it. It's Taco Tuesday, Reed. What do you think? Should we just, check out the scene? Woo! Yeah, let's check out the scene. Today, my wife had to stay home. She usually goes in a little bit earlier into the office than I do. But she had to stay home because both our kids' daycares, well, our daycare and our school, coronavirus shutdowns. 2 weeks. Both kids. So there's no place, no place we can pawn them off on. Just kidding. No place that's going to, help them learn and grow because they're both quarantining there for a while. So she's helping out today. So we get a little bit quieter read on a Tuesday, which some of you probably aren't totally upset over. I mean, I'm sure you do enjoy your little smirk regarding the raspberries and, Marley being a cute little infant. But a little bit quieter, what you say? A little bit quieter, separating of sections moment. And just generally. Here's a front section. A front page, let's say. I'm going to take it easy today. Take a nice little, deep little breath here. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see how it goes. Region? What do we got? Get to that. Life in a house. And last, we'll start sports. Tom. What's up, Tommy? Now we start sports. That's where we start. That's what we do. That's how we operate. The Wentz trade watch continues. Chicago and Indy, with coaching connections, are still considered the likeliest destinations, according to Les Bowen. You'll remember, he's also the one who claimed that Sirianni was cool, calm, and collected during press conferences. So, we'll see. We can state definitively that the Eagles weren't holding off until the Super Bowl was done with to announce a Carson Wentz trade. Monday brought no significant developments in the team's efforts to deal away the disgruntled 28-year-old quarterback it traded up to draft second overall in 2016 and then signed to a $128 million contract extension in 2019. Chicago Bears and the Indianapolis Colts, who have coaching connections to Wentz, most successful Eagles days, are still considered the most interested parties. General Harry Eagles general manager Harry Roseman apparently started out asking for 2 first-round picks and something else, which would not have been outlandish price for Wentz a year ago, perhaps, but is unlikely to be met after a season in which Wentz underwent an unprecedented regression. Wentz was benched in favor of rookie Jalen Hurts, in case you forgot, during a December 6th loss at Green Bay. He still managed to lead the league with 15 interceptions. And think about that. Truly think about that. 4 games he didn't play at the end of the year. I believe it was 4. Still leads the league in INTs. Other possible destinations have been posited, but Chicago and Indy are believed to be the only teams to have made offers. It is unclear whether any of the other teams mentioned in speculation have any interest in acquiring Wentz, who was widely considered one of the NFL's top 10 to 12 QBs just a year ago. And times change quickly, don't they, Wentz? Weak Wentz. Sorry, I just wanted a little alliteration there. You want to know my feelings about Wentz? Watch a video from a couple reads back. I'm not going to keep digging into the guy. I guess he's on a tree stand somewhere, blowing on a whistle to attract some ducks. Tonight, Sixers Kings, 10 p.m. Eek. I won't be watching that live. I'll tell you that much. Well, I'll watch a little bit of it since I gotta usually stay up until about 11:30 or so, 12ish to feed my child. They call it a dream feed. I learned dreams for one person in this situation. Flyers Caps also playing tonight, 6 o'clock. Wow, it's actually a good little if you can make it until midnight or so, feeding a child or not, you got to have a nice run up. You're going to have a 6 o'clock game, probably over around 9, give or take. Then you kind of take it easy, take a deep breath, get your act together, go right into the Sixers, 10 o'clock. According to Mark Narducci, the Bucs' performance inspired the Sixers ahead of a 4-game road trip. He says, the 76ers are 17-7. They own the best record in the Eastern Conference and are always talking about room for improvement. Good. They were playing with some great assurance, but every team can use some extra motivation. And the Sixers found that Sunday in a hotel in Sacramento. Preparing for a 4-game road trip that begins Tuesday against the Sacramento Kings, the Sixers flew out Sunday and were able to watch a Super Bowl together as a team. Who would have known that Bruce Arians, Todd Bowles, Tom Brady, and the Tampa Bay Bucs, following the 31-9 Super Bowl win, would be the group to inspire the Sixers. Quote, the Super Bowl kind of really inspired us to become a better defensive team, Sixers center Dwight Howard said Monday after practice. Here's Dwight. Dwight says, guys, did you see what the Bucs just did? Okay, well, we could do that. We can put up some defensive efforts to stymie the opposition. He mentioned how great Tom Brady was, and the offense were, but Howard said he and his teammates gravitated towards the defense. They were very physical and energetic, and they don't let the other team breathe, Howard said. I think the whole game, it just seemed like the Chiefs were frustrated with how Tampa Bay played defense, and I think we want to strive to be like that. Kings are 12-11, last in the Pacific, but still above 500. They're dead last in defensive rating, though, 116.8, but 9th in offensive rating, even ahead of the Sixers, who are 13th. See? Defense wins championships. You heard it here first. No one's ever said that before. Here's the secret to winning. It's simple. Just get Tom Brady. Mike Selsky. That's how you win. Hey, Tom, can you play for the Eagles next year? I think he's not going anywhere. Tampa Bay is going to be keeping him. Speaking of which, Bucs look to keep key free agents. What's Tom Brady's contract? I just quickly go Tom Brady contract, right? See what happens. 2-year, $50 million. So they have him for at least next year. If they want to sign him again, they could. But they don't got to worry about it yet. Wayne Simmonds out for 6 weeks. Former Flyer. I would go as far as to say beloved when he was here. He's set to miss 6 weeks after suffering a broken wrist. Saturday's 5-1 victory over the Canucks. What happened to him? Took a clearing attempt off his left arm. Wow. Broke his wrist on a puck trying to get out of the zone. Yeah, and this was, I'm sure you probably saw this going down in real time. This little argument. Mathieu and Brady, right? And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I mean, Mathieu, not Brady. I'm like, man, just don't say a thing to the guy. What do you got no space to make any sort of any observation about like Tom Brady and what he's doing, or any crap talking. Just don't need any more motivation out of Tom to tear you up. I think Mathieu realized that after the fact. Quote, in the days leading up, no quote. I don't want to misrepresent the quotes. This is just the lead. In the days leading up to Super Bowl 55, Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady spoke highly of chief safety Tyrann Mathieu. I really love him as a player, Brady said, but the tone changed during Sunday's game. The two jawed at each other, as you recall. And at one point, Brady ran down Mathieu and yelled at him. After the game, Mathieu, sorry if I can't pronounce his last name that well, he posted a tweet, which he later deleted, saying Brady calling me something that I won't repeat. Oh, so Brady sent the apology. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit over here. I'm just kind of like blinded by the GOAT. I figured anybody's gonna be apologizing in this situation. It's the non-GOAT. But Brady said, I apologize for losing my composure, and that his outbursts in an emotional moment were in no way a reflection of his feelings toward Mathieu. Mathieu said after the game he wasn't going to dwell on the incident and said, it's over with. I'm done with it. Probably your best bet to just move on from any sort of flap with Tom Brady. At least right now, when he's just putting the 7th ring on his second hand. Would he go right? I was thinking about this, strangely. If I'm him, I go 4 fingers here, 3 fingers here. I leave the thumbs alone. Britt Reid had surgery. So what? I mean, he's fine, I guess. He's whatever. But let's get to the fact that the 5-year-old girl remained hospitalized in critical condition with a brain injury. Family of the young girl started a GoFundMe page for her girl's mother, that raised $320,000 as of noon on Monday. Andy Reid was asked a day after the Super Bowl if he spoke to his son since the crash. Yeah, I've had the chance to talk with him, Andy Reid replied. My heart goes out to the young lady. I'm also a dad, so I get that. So I have concerns obviously on both sides. Britt did have surgery. He's doing better now. That little girl, my heart goes out to her. Well, that's good. That young lady. I guess he means the mom. I don't think he means the 5-year-old is the young lady. I think you become a young lady at I don't know what age. Females in the audience, let me know. When do you become a young lady according to the age number, not like in your mind. But I don't think it's 5. There's a lot of people with a lot of hot takes saying that John DeFilippo's ascension to pass game coordinator while keeping his role as QB coach on the Bears signals a moment for Carson Wentz's potential arrival / destination. I will let you marinate on that possibility or that development and whether or not it foretells Carson Wentz's move to Chi-Town. Good section today, right? Lots of sports stuff going on. To get through it, though. We already kind of took a quick gander at the standings. We saw we got 2 games tonight. So enjoy that. Now, we can just take a look at the weather. Weather moment. There it is. For your viewing pleasure, the weather. High of 41, so 10 degrees more than it was yesterday, the high situation. Still cold, low 25. Snow, some snow likely Thursday and Friday. Jeez. For those that ride bikes, don't do anything else outside, like run or, I don't know, hop on a scooter. Whatever it is you do outside, you're going to want to do it today. If it's rain in certain spots and you got some let up tomorrow, because otherwise you're going to be SOL for a little while here. If you try to get outside. Cold stretch. Yee. Today's sunset, we made it to 5:30. Whoa. That's big news. Getting to 5:30. That's big news. Only a matter of time until we see that 6 p.m. marker. We move on to life now? What do you think? We'll do some life? We looked at this already, obviously, when we were separating sections, but it's always nice to get reoriented. See anything here? Front page. All right. As we know, it is time. It is time. As if you don't know what's going to happen next. You know. Oh, you know. CAROLYN. This is the advice column portion. So we're going to see what she's got to say about this question. The heading is a baby. But at what cost? According to the stimulus plan, about $3,600 a year. It's pretty good. Question. What do you do when you have changed your mind about having kids? My husband and I previously agreed that we didn't want them. But we were young and immature. I now do. My husband says he hasn't changed his mind, but I'm not sure if he's really given the idea a chance to percolate in his mind. I really think he will be a great father, and that if I got pregnant by accident, he would recognize what a blessing it was. That's not a good idea. You did not want to get pregnant by accident. Not good. He has always left birth control up to me, so I don't really think he has the right to complain if I forget to take it. Would it be wrong for me to accidentally get pregnant? Yeah. Answer. CAROLYN says, about 18 kinds of shockingly wrong. She's on board with my take. Get his consent, or get a divorce. And do some serious work on your character, because you've breezily rationalized the deceitful conception of a child who will impose parenthood on a father who doesn't want it And a reluctant father who on some poor child who can't possibly want that either. A child is a fully distinct being, not your personal wish fulfillment vessel. Important for a lot of parents to hear that, regardless of whether or not you're trying to have an accidental birth. A child is a fully distinct being, not your personal wish fulfillment vessel. So all those that, I know I'm going to offend some people here. I know I'm going to be dipping my toe into something I might want to keep my toes out of, but I can't help it. All those people who post all those pictures on their social media, their kids doing stuff, just doing random stuff all the time, constantly. It's not about the kids, let's face it. It's about you. It's about your need for likes. You're, in that moment, looking for validation. That little spark of, ooh, somebody noticed my photo and appreciated it. You're looking for your wish to be fulfilled through your child. Think about it a little bit. Not in all cases. I'm not trying to overgeneralize, but think about it. Think about the motivation there for the incessant posting of childhood pictures of your child in various activities. And also think about the camera in their face and the constant realization as they grow, oh, another picture time for mom to post this on Facebook or somewhere else. Here we go. Happy kid time. Just saying. Think about it. People who make birth control entirely their partner's problem aren't exactly heroes, but turning them into parents as punishment is hardly the moral triumph you seem to suggest. I am now fresh out of wow. I'll let the commenters weigh in while I stagger around in mute horror. Wow, Carolyn. So what did the commenters say? Sometimes Carolyn opens it up to the peanut gallery. She's like, hey, everybody, what do you think about this question? And then the people are like, oh, I'll jump in. One person says, that's massively wrong. If you get pregnant, quote, on your own, i.e. without your husband's consent to be a parent, then you may as well prepare to be a parent alone. He does have a right to complain if you remember to take your birth control and then willfully choose not to without telling him. That's what the quotes around forget mean, right? The quality of a relationship is only so good as the trust and consideration of your partner that you put into it. An accidental on-purpose pregnancy is the worst kind of trust-breaking betrayal and arm-twisting there is. There's no way that question from the wife about accidentally forcing her husband to become a father is real. Right? Dear Lord. Commenters are like all on board here with Carolyn. I'm now on negative wow supply. Sweet holy hell. That was Carolyn coming back around after she read the comments. She kind of considered them all, took them all in, and said, okay, now I definitively give up. There's your advice column for today. Here comes your horoscope. At least if you're a Scorpio, here's your horoscope. If you're not a Scorpio, well then get yourself a newspaper and go online and figure out what your sign is. But this is for Scorpios, because that's what I am. So I'm distracted by the weather over here. AM showers, as we saw. It's a good day to say what you've been meaning to say. The truth is revealed. The afternoon is a pleasant time at home. You can get domestic things done. I don't know about that. I mean, I guess I could come home and do some domestic things this afternoon. Mostly I'll probably be in my office. But I guess I can manage domestic things remotely. I do need to get to the post office to mail in my passports, to get those renewed for our planned trip. I talked about that in a previous read. So I guess that's a domestic thing. That's probably going to happen in the afternoon. Thanks, Madeline. That Madeline Aslan, right? Madeline and Carolyn. Hanging out together with their YNs at the end of their name. Their LYNs at the end of their name. Just chilling. Just chilling in the regions section. Waiting for me to get to them. Done. That was life, actually. Sorry. This is region. So, when I think of Philly region, I think, right now at least, Philly School District and the teacher saga. That's where I go. That's where my mind goes with probably what we're going to be seeing in the leads, main articles. And, I was correct. We saw this picture when I started separating sections. But here is like the close-up of it. I mean, when they say sit out, they're not, like, it seems like figuratively saying that. Like, they didn't just stay at home. They literally sat outside. That's a good headline. Clever. They push back against reopening plans. City partners with CHOP for vaccinations. So they got vaccinations hooked up. Thousands of educators gathered outside closed public school buildings across the city Monday, publicly pushing back against the Philadelphia School District reopening plan they say endangers staff and students. As they waited for a neutral third party to determine whether the school system has met safety conditions necessary to reopen, school staff waved signs and bundled up against frigid weather, teaching from tents and folding chairs, rather than go inside buildings, as Superintendent William R. Height had instructed. We want to work, said Yolanda Tolliver, an educational assistant at Samuel Gompers Elementary in Winfield, but we want to come back safe. That's all we're asking. Educators cheer news that the city, school system, and Children's Hospital of Philadelphia have plans to set up vaccination sites for teachers and other school workers inside district buildings by the end of the month. Good progress. But many teachers said vaccination alone is insufficient without other assurances. I just want the kind of buildings for our city kids that kids in the suburbs have, says special education teacher Sam McKinley. I'll sit out in the cold forever if I have to. The fan plan, you remember the fans, right? Oh, come on. You remember the fans. The fan plan in particular has raised alarm with teachers and parents. District officials have called the fans a, quote, good faith effort to ventilate about 1,100 rooms. Weingarten said of the fans when she first saw pictures of them. By Weingarten, I think they mean like the big wig, the big like teacher union national person. Let me see. Let me make sure of this. Yep, Randy Weingarten, American Federation of Teachers president. Oh, so she was there. She went to this situation and helped at Gompers Elementary. Kind of helped bring some attention to the cause. I think more is needed here in the city, but maybe nationally. She goes, I thought it was a Saturday Night Live parody. That's what she said. It is a mockery. It is incredibly disrespectful to think that something like this would fly. So, teachers are going to need hazmat suits, a personalized fan that can connect to a helmet that they wear on their head that just blows on them and away from them. They're going to need also a bubble around the hazmat suit. And on the bubble, they're going to need a built-in electronic screen that just, so they just look straight ahead and there's their kids. Can you just make that happen, William Height and Randy and Jerry Jordan? Just come on. Can you get these people a screen bubble? Details are emerging about the crash of this off-duty police officer who was allegedly drunk and driving 70 miles per hour when he slammed into a home, breaking a woman's legs. By Barbara Lacker, William Bender, David Gambacorda. Trifecta. Plaintiff police officer Gregory Campbell was allegedly intoxicated Saturday night and driving at least 70 miles per hour in his Dodge Dart when he blew past the stop sign and slammed into a house down the street from the headquarters of the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge No. 5, breaking a woman's leg and collapsing her lung while she was lying on the couch with her husband, according to court documents. The 53-year-old woman, a mother of 3, was dragged and pinned under Campbell's car and was hospitalized in critical condition. Her 45-year-old husband required medical treatment for his less severe injuries to his arm, hand, hip, leg, and back. One of their dogs was killed. The impact of the crash set the couple's house on a tidy block of Comley Road in the far northeast, looking as if it had been partially bulldozed. A jagged hole revealed splintered wood, dangling shards of sheetrock, and overturned furniture. Quote, "We are grateful for everyone's thoughts and prayers," said one of the woman's sons, who did not want to be identified. Outside of that, we have no comment. We ask that everyone respect our privacy. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure if there's any sort of... I'm going to quickly scan. I'm not sure if there's any sort of credence to this hypothesis that I'm about to lay out. But, before I do that, because I was going to suggest the proximity to the police lodge was him and his fellow officers bending the elbow there, and then he took off. But according to, I guess, the timeline here, multiple law enforcement sources say Campbell is believed to have attended a beef and beer fundraiser that was held from 2 to 6 at the Crispin Tavern on Holme Avenue near Ashton Road for the family of James O'Connor IV, a police corporal who was fatally shot while serving an arrest warrant and fined for last year. All right, so maybe he wasn't at the lodge, but let's see. And at some point, Campbell, who was off duty, ended up at the 7C Lounge. Well, here it is. See, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. Isn't that why you're here? Let's face it, you're here for me to put 2 and 2 together. 7C Lounge is a bar and restaurant inside the FOP's sprawling headquarters on CAROLYN Road, about 5 miles from the Crispin Tavern. On its website, the FOP touts the lounge as a refuge for cops. Every hero needs a hideout. Is their line? Is there like tagline? Every hero needs a hideout. Maybe every hero needs a home. If I pick any other sort of term for the 7C Lounge besides hideout. Well, Gregory, you're not hiding anymore. I don't know where he was prior to the accident, said good old FOP President John McNesby. I think there's still some confusion. I've not spoken to the guy. I'm talking to my folks here, and they're still not sure whether Campbell was here or not. McNesby said the union is cooperating with accident investigators. On Monday afternoon, a police cruiser was still parked at the accident scene. A thin layer of snow covered debris that had been scattered across the lawn. At the FOP's headquarters, meanwhile, a digital sign flashed, "Back the Blue." Quote, "The consequences of choosing to drive while under the influence are enormous and all too often life-changing," Outlaw said, who is the police commissioner, Danielle Outlaw. "A family should always feel safe in their home, and yet the actions of this individual shatter that reality. The fact that the offender, in this case, is a Philadelphia police officer is appalling. Police officers must be held to a higher standard, even while off duty, and I assure the victims and the public that a complete and thorough investigation will take place. My prayers remain with this family." So there's a thing called dram shop. It's like a law that exists, some sort of statute. I don't know the exact terminology for dram shop, but what it is you can sue the bar. It allows you to sue a bar if you're a victim of a DUI. You know, you're not the person who drank and crashed into somebody, but you're the person who was injured by it or affected by it. Somebody else's drinking and driving. You can sue the bar for over-serving a clearly intoxicated person, right? Could the lodge, the 7C Lounge, get sued for dram shop? even though it's a hideout for cops. I don't see why it couldn't be. If he came back from a beef and beer, went to the 7C, drank even more, then he, visibly drank more, even though he was intoxicated from the beef and beer. I'm just, again, putting two and two together here. Seven are killed in separate city shootings. So quick. Just do a quick deep breath here, okay? So quick reflection, okay? Just a quick one. We got a slate of people here. They all deserve time and respect. We got one who looks like he's a bigger name, Joseph F. Clark, 82. Former journalist, as a matter of fact. Daily News writer and columnist. He was my hometown columnist, the Daily News. Prostate cancer, 82. We have some more of the regular folks, as we call them. Got Robert McLaughlin, Upper Darby, he's 91. We have Christine Bashan, 63, young. Rose Di Benedetto, 93. Look at the Rose. The Rose in her heyday. Pretty. Here she is. Fellow Ital. Isadora Goldberg. She passed away on the 6th of February. I'm sorry, he was a husband. I'm sorry, Isadore. Was married to Henrietta, who passed before him. Mary Riley. She's at age 90. She passed away on the 5th. Surrounded by her family. She was born in Philly in 1930. She attended Holy Child Elementary School and Little Flower High School, and often spent summers in Locust Gap, Northumberland County, PA, with her maternal grandparents and cousins. She married John F. Riley in 63. They lived in Ridley and had 4 children. She was a faithful and active member of Notre Dame de Lourdes Parish of Swarthmore. She was an annual retreatant at St. Raphael Mary Retreat House and regularly visited and supported Camilla Hall, Immaculata, PA. She was amicable and genial, hospitable and generous, loyal and selfless. She was a faithful friend, was devoted to her parents, her beloved sister Anne, her cousins, husband, children, and grandchildren, nieces, and nephews, and was a deeply committed Catholic. Well, if all went well, if she's on to something, she's up there. And even if she wasn't, she seems like she lived a really great life, regardless of what, religious persuasion she chose. She should be up there. Everybody, including Robert McLaughlin, who we mentioned, and Charles Jackson, and Phyllis Melko, rest in peace. And that brings us to the end of the region. There's a lot more here. As always, on Inquirer.com, I'm just telling you, the newspaper's great. I'm just giving it another plug. This one's good too. This is what I read on my own time. So I'm just telling you. Giving a shout out to the papers. I mean, that's kind of the whole point. Oh, wrong one. We got the front section of the Inquirer, actually, not the Times. Here it is. Remember, all the production work, all these bells and whistles you're saying, that's me. I don't have a staff. Wow. More on Cheney here. Got a front page picture of Temple saying goodbye to Cheney at their, I guess, at their game here. Nope. That was on Monday morning. That was the viewing. Sorry. That was a public viewing. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize I noticed that. Sorry. Should have looked closer. You can actually see Cheney lying in state here. If you look closely. I mean, I don't know. There you go. See? Computer glitch and a new hitch in the vaccine saga here in the area. 2 articles above the fold. 1, software. Counties say registration system is flawed. 2, infection may not be a shield from recurrence or variant. Previous infection does not give you a free pass. A substantial risk of reinfection remains, said Stuart Schilfron, a researcher at Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, New York, who led a study on reinfection among Marine recruits. Well, remember we were talking earlier about like the vaccine, the teachers need that to like go into school, right? That's like the hiccup, the last barrier in place, the last hurdle. I don't know if this is going to help that, concept that the vaccine's a green light in their minds, because you're going to have them say, wait a minute, actually, there's this variant out there, and we might, on top of that, because we got vaccinated. Wait a minute. I'm off base. This is if you get COVID. You get COVID. You're not like, good, I'm good to go. Although I do think I was reading about the vaccination and whether or not it's as effective for these variants. But I want to backtrack, rewind the tape. Because apparently, according to the article, it's once you get infected, you can't just assume you're good to go. Which I think we might have known, but now there's a study. Whew. U.S. cases fall amid fears of Super Bowl party spike. Vaccinations are gaining steam. Nearly 1 in 10 Americans have now received at least one shot, but just 2.9% of the U.S. population has been fully vaccinated. One in 10 Americans have received at least one shot. Confused by that a little bit. I mean, let's see, they say more than 4 million more vaccinations were reported over the weekend. A significantly faster clip than in previous days, according to the CDC. But I'm just thinking of 10 people I know. And I know, okay, I know one of them that has it. Okay. I know a couple that have gotten it. So, I don't know. Just seems like it's more successful, 1 in 10, than I would have been led to believe from reading all these articles about the shoddy rollout. Democrats calling for $1,400 payments. A bill allots direct aid for most Americans as part of Biden's relief plan. Senior House Democrats on Monday night proposed sending $1,400 stimulus payments to Americans with up to $75,000 in annual income, rejecting an earlier plan under consideration to sharply curtail the benefits. Catholic school rolls plummet. U.S. enrollment dropped 6.4% from the last academic year. The pandemic and the economy are blamed. Enrollment in Catholic schools in the United States dropped 6.4%, the largest single-year decline in at least 5 decades. Tesla now looks like taking Bitcoin to pay for your Tesla. Wow. It's potentially a, quote, game-changing moves. Tesla joins big names such as Microsoft, Wikipedia, and PayPal accepting Bitcoin worldwide. That's big. They've invested $1.5 billion in Bitcoin and plans to start accepting the cryptocurrency in the near future. Wow. Man, there's a lot of stuff in this little business pullout section. They got what a minimum $15 wage would do. Reduce the number of people living in poverty, but will also increase the national debt. You can read about that by Kevin Frecking, Alan Fram, and Josh Boak, Associated Press. TerraVida Holistic expanding to West Virginia. TerraVida Holistic Centers, a medical marijuana firm based in Jenkintown, has acquired West Virginia Kindness, a medical cannabis retailer, as part of a plan to open a store in the Mountain State this fall. West Virginia Kindness was recently awarded a dispensary permit from the state of West Virginia, Virginia's Office of Medical Cannabis. WV Kindness is licensing brands from TerraVida, and the acquisition marks TerraVida's first foray outside Pennsylvania. A lot of money to be had in weed. Okay. Target's finding a new line of finds a winner in a new line of activewear. $1 billion in its first year of sales. There it is. Looking for activewear? Look no further. Look at Target. It's all motion activewear. It's reached more than $1 billion in sales, proving that the retailer's timely investment has paid off. Target rolled out All in Motion last January to replace the C9 by Champion line that Target had carried for more than a decade. All in Motion, quote, provided a comfort and value at a time when our guests needed it most. The performance is on par with what you would find in a premium brand, and it is affordable for our guests in a time when money matters. I love that. Our guests. I think you're having them over for like a bed and breakfast. They're in the Target store getting activewear. They're customers, but I appreciate it. Good timing though for Target. January last year. Nobody was really like, come on, nobody was like thinking at that time we were going to be in a pandemic. Doing Zooms all the time, stuck in our house. Target's like, they went for it. And now everybody's wearing their sweatpants and stuff. Target made $1 billion. They can thank their guests for that. Now, we're at the end. We're at the end. You believe that? We've made it to the special part of the program called Today's Letter. It's a very special part of the program. It involves me, as your fearless leader here, guiding us through the read, scanning over the letters that the regular folks have sent in to the Inquirer that were chosen to be published, and saying which one do we want to give some attention to, read. So I'm going to read the name of the writer and the headline the Inquirer gave the writer's letter. Priscilla McDougal, Philadelphia, responses to Deep in Debt. Same thing with Jack Bellis, Winmore. He also takes on Deep in Debt, the article by somebody. It's an article regarding the apparent college debt problem lies in lack of information. I don't know. But I'm probably not going to read that one, so I'm kind of just glossing. A Fan is No Plan for Schools by Rochelle Nicole Solomon, a facilitator, Powell, and the School Advisory Council, and Brandy L. Stewart, President, Powell School Home and School Association. That looks like a winner. Carol Jenkins, Philadelphia, Teaching the 14th Amendment. It's pretty good. And then Ned Drinker out of Conshohocken, Justice Delayed for Clergy Abuse Victims. Which one? Oh man, I gotta do the Fan one. I gotta do the Fan one. Sorry. Do I? No. Or do I want to do the 14th Amendment? Let's do 14th Amendment. I'm gonna just change it up. The Fan one, we guys got a lot of play. By Carol Jenkins. As someone who has taught American government to college students for many years, I was thrilled that someone of Will Smith's stature will host a series on what I consider the most important constitutional amendment. I have been dismayed over the years as I saw fewer and fewer students entering college prepared to discuss our structure and processes of government. The diminished focus teaching government in our secondary schools is a phenomenon I believe has contributed to our present political strife. My hope is that Smith's celebrity will draw people to learn about this important Reconstruction Amendment and perhaps consider its present day importance. I'd like to point out one error in the article that should be corrected, however. While the staff writer quotes directly from the amendment the clause that grants citizenship to, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States, thus overriding the Dred Scott decision, it would have been wise to continue her reference to the amendment when explaining the Equal Protection Clause. She states that this clause protects, quote, citizens, and that is incorrect. The clause reads that any person, quote, is protected. In these volatile times, this is an extremely important distinction. That's your letter. That's your today's letter right there. Uh-oh. You know, I'm angling towards a bonus letter here, because sometimes I just can't help myself. Can't help myself. I gotta read this one about the fan. I gotta read it about the fan. I have to. Sorry. And then I'm done. Fan is no plan. Ready? Last week, we heard from an overwhelming number of parents that the district's plan to reopen buildings is an awful idea. While issues of health and safety are paramount, we also heard that this is an equally terrible plan for learning. Remember, students will only return 2 days a week. Even then, all children will spend a majority of time on computers because their teachers must educate in-person and virtual students at the same time. Teachers who have improved at online teaching will now have yet another hurdle, providing instruction in masks 6 feet away from their young students. Special relationships between teachers and students and parents will also be disrupted in the middle of the school year when teachers with pre-existing health problems that prevent them from teaching in person are switched with upper-grade colleagues. Unlike the absurd pictures of window fans in the dead of winter, it is not so easy to convey how bad this plan is for learning. It is a bleak picture. The district should delay in-person schooling, be transparent, and demand the city help to secure more quality access centers for families who need them. Rather than diminish the social and emotional toll on students, we believe this plan will increase it. We realize there are no perfect solutions, but do no harm should be a bottom line. That might not have been worth the bonus read. Sorry. Okay, now we're going to officially end with the Utah avalanche that killed 4 backcountry skiers. The skiers were from the Salt Lake City area. 4 other skiers were buried in the slide, but were able to dig themselves out. Oh my goodness. Did you hear about this? Craziness. Dig themselves out. Oh. This winter is on track to be deadlier for avalanches than last year's. Numbers gathered by the Colorado Avalanche Information Center show 21 people have died so far this year in the U.S., 15 of them skiers. There are still more than 2 months left in the season. A total of 23 people, including 8 skiers, died the previous winter between December and April, the agency found. Be careful on the slopes, people. Be careful on the slopes. Keep your head on a swivel. All right. 8:16. Good read today. Good lengthy read. Good peaceful read. But now I gotta get going. So I hope you enjoyed today's newspaper. And if you have the times, make sure you get to that. And quick plug. Follow me on Twitter at Daily Paper Read, as well as this lovely YouTube channel. Because at Daily Paper Read, I post some clippings about that I find in the New York Times of interest and other kind of takes and riffs. So, if you want to swing over to Twitter and check me out at Daily Paper Read, I appreciate it. Until tomorrow.